apparently bothering people, then maybe they can help us.
Okay, as far as trash-wise goes?
I was just gonna work on that.
Okay.
Welcome to U.S. Homeless Stories. On the dimly lit streets of Wichita, life teeters between hope and despair. They call this the aviation capital of the world, a land that once throbbed with industrial promise and the beating heart of the American dream. But behind the glitter, ordinary people struggle with pain, their silent battles echoing through the night like unspoken prayers. It's moments like these that U.S. Homeless Stories brings to light, touching the heart with the true depth of these silent struggles. In 2025, more than 195 people in Wichita, Kansas, slept without shelter each night, a 6% increase from last year, according to United Way of the Plains. But these are more than statistics. These are stories of courage, loss, and resilience. This is more than homelessness. It is the beating heart of Wichita screaming for compassion before it fades into darkness. Have you ever wondered what secrets lie hidden behind those giant aircraft factories? 1. The current state of homelessness in Wichita. In the heart of Wichita, where the Arkansas River glides past bridges and neon signs glow over empty streets, some lives slip quietly beneath the city's bright surface. The 2025 count found nearly 720 people without homes, each one carrying a world of memories, loss, and fragile hope. Shelters filled beyond capacity this winter, with volunteers rushing to set up makeshift beds and hand out steaming cups of soup through the cold. Among those struggling is Eli, a 26-year-old former art student who once dreamed of painting murals across Kansas. After his father passed away and student loans piled up, Eli couldn't keep up with rent. The apartment went first, then his job at a print shop. For months, he carried a sketchbook through Wichita's downtown, drawing people passing by, capturing fragments of life he no longer felt part of. One day, a volunteer from a local outreach group stopped to talk and noticed his talent. That small moment changed everything. They helped him apply for a community art grant, and now Eli paints murals for shelters and nonprofits, his artwork turning walls into symbols of hope. Stories like Eli's are what U.S. Homeless Stories seeks to share. Real, unfiltered glimpses into humanity's quiet resilience. Wichita's homelessness crisis is not just about lost shelter. It's about lost belonging and the long road to rebuilding it. Through U.S. Homeless Stories, we're reminded that behind every statistic is someone like Eli, someone who once dreamed, still dreams, and just needs a little light to find their way back. 2. The interconnected social safety net. In Wichita, the social safety net meant to protect people has stretched to its limits, pulled thin by rising rents, stagnant wages, and a healthcare system struggling to keep up. Nearly 63,000 residents now live below the poverty line, and for many, one small setback, a medical bill, a job loss, a broken car, is enough to tip everything over the edge. Shelters fill faster than they can open beds. Food pantries see lines wrapping around corners, and social workers juggle impossible caseloads. It's not that help doesn't exist, it's that the need grows faster than the system can reach. Amid this fragile network walks Thomas, a man who once helped build homes in Wichita's booming construction industry. Now, he sleeps beneath one of the bridges he helped pour concrete for years ago. At night, he sits beneath the glow of a street lamp, sipping coffee that's long gone cold, while cars rush overhead, people heading home, unaware that one of their city's builders has no roof left of his own. Around him, others gather, a veteran clutching a worn jacket, an elderly woman humming softly to herself, and a young man, just 18, carrying everything he owns in a single bag. Together, they form their own small circle of warmth and humanity, sharing what little they have and reminding each other they still belong somewhere. This is the hidden face of Wichita's social safety net, not broken, but frayed by time and neglect, held together by the kindness of strangers and the will of those who refuse to give up. Through U.S. homeless stories, we step into these unseen spaces, not to look down, but to look closer, to understand that homelessness isn't the absence of shelter, but the absence of being seen. And sometimes, all it takes to restore hope is someone willing to stop, listen, and truly care. 3. Root causes. Driving the surge. Beneath Wichita's calm skyline, where laughter echoes from coffee shops and children play in neighborhood parks, another reality unfolds quietly in the shadows. It's the story of people who once had homes, jobs, and dreams, but now sleep under bridges, in cars, or along the cold banks of the Arkansas River. The causes are tangled: rising rents, stagnant wages, scarce mental health care, but the pain they leave behind is achingly human. Among those stories is Maria's. She's 51, a mother who once worked double shifts at a nursing home. When her rent rose from $800 to $1,150, she tried everything, selling her old jewelry, skipping meals, even taking a second job cleaning offices at night. But when her landlord sold the building, she had nowhere to go. Maria now sleeps in an old minivan with her son, Eli, who's only 9. Each morning, she wipes the fog off the windows and whispers, "One day, baby, we'll have a home again." She takes him to school, then parks behind the library to rest before her shift. On Sundays, she walks into church, head held high, still wearing the same uniform she wore when she had an apartment, because dignity, she says, is the one thing she refuses to lose. Her story isn't rare. It's the quiet truth of a city stretched thin. When housing costs rise faster than paychecks, when health crises go untreated, when second chances are out of reach, people like Maria fall through the cracks. Yet even in her struggle, there's courage, there's love, there's a mother who believes tomorrow might be kinder. At U.S. Homeless Stories, we've met people like Maria, brave, ordinary souls caught in extraordinary hardship. 4. Life on the edge for the homeless. Beyond the visible hardship of living without shelter in Wichita lies a deeper struggle for survival and dignity. Each day is defined by necessity, finding shade in summer's 100-degree heat or warmth in winter's freezing nights. Outreach data from late 2024 show over 60% of the city's unsheltered residents face repeated displacement after encampment sweeps, constantly rebuilding fragile shelters along the Arkansas River. Yet even this refuge is uncertain. Spring floods often wash away tents and belongings, forcing dozens to start over again. Basic needs remain a daily challenge. Public restrooms are scarce, and those that exist close early, leaving many dependent on churches or volunteer hygiene stations. Nonprofits distribute around 12,000 food packages a month, but demand still exceeds supply. Without kitchens or refrigeration, people rely on canned meals or donated food that spoils quickly in Kansas's shifting climate. Health issues deepen the hardship. About 40% of Wichita's homeless population live with untreated conditions like asthma, diabetes, or chronic pain, worsened by exposure and exhaustion. Yet amid the struggle, humanity persists. During the February 2025 cold snap, residents and small businesses opened warming rooms, offering coffee, blankets, and companionship. In these moments, hope flickers through shared kindness, reminding us that resilience is not just survival, it's the refusal to give up. Through U.S. Homeless Stories, Wichita's crisis reveals not despair alone, but the unbreakable spirit of those living on the edge. 5. The silent cries in the night of the homeless. When night descends over Wichita, the city falls into a fragile hush. But for many without a home, that silence is not peace. It's the sound of survival. Beneath bridges, beside the Arkansas River, and along forgotten streets, the darkness becomes both shelter and reminder. The hum of distant traffic replaces lullabies, while the cold pavement becomes an unwelcome companion. Every flicker of wind carries a whisper of endurance, quiet, unseen, but undeniably human. The night reveals what daylight hides. Hunger, fatigue, and loneliness intertwine with hope in ways few can understand. Around scattered corners, small fires glow, fragile beacons against the night's indifference. Some sit awake, guarding their few belongings. Others stare at the stars, wondering how long it's been since someone called them by name. In ththose moments, the city breathes differently, slower, heavier, as if aware of the lives it shelters, but cannot embrace. Yet, amid the silence, compassion still stirs. Outreach teams make their rounds, offering blankets, warm food, and gentle words that mean more than they seem. A simple, "How are you holding up?" can feel like sunlight in the dark. These gestures remind us that humanity is not lost, only waiting to be noticed. Through U.S. homeless stories, we listen to these quiet cries and bring them into the light. Because the night in Wichita isn't just cold, it's full of unseen courage, quiet dignity, and an unbroken will to survive. And when we choose to listen, truly listen, we discover that empathy is the bridge between their world and ours. One that begins not with charity, but with understanding. Six, non-profit organizations. Across Wichita, non-profit organizations form the backbone of the city's fight against homelessness, transforming compassion into daily action. Open Door Ministries serves over 90,000 hot meals a year, offering not just food, but dignity and a sense of belonging to those who've lost their footing. Breakthrough Episcopal Social Services empowers individuals through counseling, job training, and transitional housing. Its work-ready program helping hundreds find steady employment and rebuild their confidence. Catholic Charities of Wichita shelters families escaping domestic violence through Harbor House and St. Anthony Family Shelter, while Humankind Ministries provides emergency beds and manages the Pay It Forward Housing Fund, which kept more than 300 residents from eviction last year. Campaigns like Operation Holiday and Project Warmth, distributing food, blankets, and 4,000 winter coats, reveal how kindness spreads through community hands. Working together under the Wichita Homeless Network and United Way of the Plains, these organizations share data, coordinate care, and ensure that no one is left unseen. Through U.S. homeless stories, we witness how these efforts breathe humanity into every corner of the city. Wichita's nonprofits remind us that real change doesn't begin with policy. It begins with people who choose to care, proving that hope, when shared, can rebuild entire lives. 7. Governmental efforts in motion. Wichita's government has stepped up its response to homelessness with a stronger focus on collaboration and long-term stability. Building on the Housing First and rapid rehousing programs, city leaders are developing micro-housing villages, small, affordable homes designed for people transitioning out of shelters. A pilot site near South Broadway aims to provide 40 modular units paired with healthcare, job training, and counseling, offering residents both safety and a path forward. The Department of Housing and Community Services has also partnered with Sedgwick County to launch a centralized referral system, allowing nonprofits, hospitals, and social workers to coordinate aid instantly. Meanwhile, Wichita's Homeless Outreach Team, HOT, trained in crisis response and trauma-informed care, focuses on connecting people with mental health and housing support instead of jail or citations. In 2025, city officials approved a $2.8 million funding boost to expand rental assistance, mobile health outreach, and behavioral programs. Federal support through the Continuum of Care, COC, now provides about $6 million annually, complemented by contributions from developers and healthcare groups building mixed-income housing and supportive services. Together, these efforts mark a shift from short-term fixes to sustainable, people-centered solutions. Wichita's goal is not just to manage homelessness, but to reduce it, creating a city where every person, regardless of circumstance, has a fair chance to rebuild with dignity and belonging. BAIT, Proposed Solutions and Personal Insights. Building on Wichita's ongoing progress, one promising path lies in deepening collaboration between public and private sectors to create sustainable housing pipelines. Developers could be incentivized through low-interest loans or tax credits to repurpose vacant commercial buildings, many left empty since the pandemic, into mixed-income residential units. This adaptive reuse not only revitalizes underused properties, but also injects life into downtown areas struggling with economic stagnation. Simultaneously, the city can establish a community land trust, ensuring long-term affordability by keeping land ownership in public or nonprofit hands, while allowing residents to own their homes. Such models have already succeeded in cities like Burlington, Vermont, providing stability for thousands without displacing low-income families. Expanding on employment pathways, Wichita's technical institutions and community colleges can partner directly with employers to design apprenticeship programs tailored for homeless or at-risk individuals. Practical trades like construction, HVAC, or caregiving offer strong entry points, especially when paired with wraparound support, such as transportation stipends and mentorship. Equally vital is investing in trauma-informed care across shelters and service agencies. Many experiencing homelessness face layered trauma, so equipping frontline workers with psychological first aid skills can foster trust and long-term recovery. Furthermore, the integration of mobile technology, apps connecting unsheltered individuals with available beds, food resources, and caseworkers could bridge communication gaps and reduce inefficiencies. Lastly, community engagement must transcend charity to become partnership. Hosting empathy workshops in schools, organizing day in the life volunteer experiences, and amplifying survivor voices through local media can shift perceptions from pity to empowerment. When residents view homelessness not as a moral failing, but as a shared societal challenge, compassion transforms into action. Through these collective measures, Wichita can nurture both recovery and resilience, ensuring that every step forward strengthens the city's social fabric and redefines what it truly means to call a place home. My personal reflections. When I walk the streets of Wichita, I don't just see tents, broken sidewalks, or forgotten corners. I see fragments of stories, moments of courage still flickering in the cold wind. Homelessness here isn't just a crisis. It's a quiet storm that tests what it means to be human. Every statistic hides a heartbeat, and behind each weary face is a story that could have been any of ours if life had turned just a little differently. I still remember meeting James, a soft-spoken man in his early 50s, sitting beside the Arkansas River one evening. Once a mechanic with steady hands and a proud smile, he lost his job when his factory downsized. The bills piled up, the rent slipped out of reach, and soon the only sound he heard at night was the rustle of wind through a torn blanket. Yet even there, James found a way to fix things, not engines anymore, but hope. He repaired bicycles for neighborhood kids, refusing payment, saying, "Just promise me you'll ride somewhere safe." His story stayed with me long after the sun went down. Through U.S. homeless stories, I've realized that people like James aren't broken, they're simply unseen. Their strength doesn't lie in wealth or comfort, but in the ability to wake up each day and still believe tomorrow might hold something better. Wichita's homelessness may cost millions of dollars each year, but the true cost is measured in lost dreams, missed potential, and the kindness we forget to give. These reflections remind me that empathy is not weakness, it's our greatest form of courage. When we choose to listen instead of judge, when we look someone in the eyes and truly see them, we bridge the distance that society builds. And that's what U.S. Homeless Stories stands for, giving voice to the invisible, turning pain into purpose, and proving that every story, no matter how heavy, deserves to be heard. Conclusion. Wichita's ongoing struggle with homelessness is more than a statistical challenge. It's a moral crossroads testing the city's compassion, coordination, and commitment to equity. As 2025 unfolds, the 6% rise in homelessness reflects broader national pressures, but also highlights the unique resilience of this heartland community. The city's estimated 691 unhoused residents, many facing chronic instability, are not merely figures in a report. They are workers, parents, and veterans whose lives reveal the deep intersections of housing, health, and hope. Wichita's leadership has made notable strides through collaborative programs like the Housing First Initiative, rapid rehousing, and expanded outreach services that collectively serve hundreds each month. Yet, the gaps remain visible: an affordable housing shortage exceeding 3,000 units, shelter beds reaching 110% capacity in winter, and mental health systems struggling under rising caseloads. Still, signs of progress glimmer amid the struggle. United Way's $4 million in community grants, the newly approved $3.2 million federal fund for the multi-agency hub, and grassroots drives distributing over 2,500 hygiene kits illustrate that when civic action meets empathy, tangible change follows. Wichita's nonprofits continue to expand job readiness programs, pairing housing support with pathways to independence, while city planners explore inclusionary zoning to embed affordability within new developments. At its best, these partnerships prove that solutions thrive when human stories shape policy, not the other way around. But real transformation requires more than temporary relief. It demands a long-term cultural shift towards seeing housing as a human right, not a privilege. Education campaigns, public dialogues, and storytelling efforts like U.S. Homeless Stories keep these issues visible, turning awareness into advocacy. The question now isn't whether Wichita can change, it's whether its citizens, institutions, and policymakers will sustain the will to make that change permanent. Every tent dismantled, every life rebuilt, and every job regained stands as proof that collective empathy can reframe a city's destiny. From my reflections through U.S. Homeless Stories, Wichita emerges not as a city defeated by hardship, but as one standing tall in the face of it, its heart tested, yet unbroken, ready to build a future where every resident can call a place home.